Director of Marketing. Thank you all so much for being here. Today is actually a really exciting time. It's my first time here, and some of the other GNet members are also our first time here. So we have a pretty cool program for you. We have some pretty exciting products that we want to show you. And my objective today is to get you acquainted with what we're doing and hopefully have you take away 1 to 2, maybe 3 things that are concrete and that you can directly implement into your business. So, before we jump into all of that though, let me go and outline kind of where many of us still currently sit. So currently, a lot of us still operate kind of like on a tech stack of 2008. What does that mean? That means we're still retyping trips. We're still forwarding emails to our partners. And we call our affiliates all the time, just inquiring about updates. Now, my objective again is to introduce you to our wonderful team. And hopefully, by the end of today, there is 6 core components that I want you to remember, that I'm hoping that you will take away, and that will be practical advice that you can directly implement into your business. And so, as part of that, one of the very first things that we're introducing right now is a product that many of you are already familiar with, which is GNet platform. And in order to give you all the details about this very first product, it is my absolute pleasure to introduce to you our business analyst, Nav.
Thank you everyone for coming. So, what is GNet in simple terms? Some of you may already know what we do, but some of you may not. So, GNet is how reservations move between companies electronically. Your system can send to other systems, we bridge the technology for you. What this also means is, once you are connected into GNet, you can send your reservations to anyone on a separate platform. No need to retype things, the send goes through to them. So a lot of you have done business the old way. You receive a reservation, you need to farm it out, you need to farm it in. So you're retyping, you're sending it, now you're babysitting the ride, you're calling the partner, trying to find out where the client is. A lot of this process can be very lengthy. And it's because at the end of the day, things aren't integrated. But with GNet, what happens is you're able to send, you sync, and you're done. You're able to check on the trip status, you're able to push through updates, no need to constantly call the partner, no need to play phone tag. So, before GNet, connectivity was a dream in this industry. One integration now lets you connect to thousands of companies, and we have about 70 countries that we're in, and we're now connected to 50 different softwares. Why should operators care? Well, at the end of the day, every manual step you do is a silent cost center. It may feel normal, but it really is holding you back. When reservations sync automatically, you're going to get fewer mistakes, faster confirmation, less back and forth, and less administrative overhead. What this lets you do is you get to spend more time focusing on your business and not focusing on chasing the business that you're currently working on between partners. So what we've done is that we've also gone into a couple of other areas to help you with partner-to-partner business. How many of you have had to send insurance documents or permits to partners? It is something that is very common in this industry. So what we did is that we decided to launch document management last year. What you do is that you're able to keep everything in your profile with GNet. And so what we did is that we wanted to do this so you can share your documents to partners or display documents so people don't have to ask for them. I know a common thing is airport permits. People want to make sure that you have it if you're going to do business with them. A lot of the times, if you have to send your documents to multiple partners, multiple times a month, it's a lot of work. So what we've done is that put everything in one place for you. You can adjust what is visible to which partners. You can have things public, shared with only one person, open to anybody that's partnered with you. The idea is that we wanted to do faster onboarding with more trust and less friction. What we've also done is that we are able to remind you when documents are expiring. So that way everything is in one place for you. You're able to send everything in batches to all the partners that you need to yearly, and you don't have to worry about trying to find it through email threads and wherever it is on your computer. So one thing that we've always focused on is the GNet core product. Our goal is that we want to provide the best partner-to-partner services. And that is what we've done with GNet as our core product. That's what we've been working on with all these additional products. I would also like to announce that we now have a new COI verification partner. What they do is they do workers' comp and COI, which you can access on demand. That means that you don't have to wait for anybody. You are able to get the information immediately as needed, no matter what time of day it is. You will also get notified again if policies get canceled, which means no chasing, emailing, or waiting. The idea that we're trying to do here, between what GNet does, what the documents do, and now the COI verification partner, is we're trying to make business easier for you guys. We're trying to make things more efficient. We're trying to streamline these services for you. And a lot of you who've used GNet know that it does save a lot of time. And so what we're trying to do is spread that out into other parts of your day-to-day work. So right now, the COI verification partner that we're going to be working with, it's available in US and Canada, soon Europe. And again, the best part is that it's going to be one click. Just like setting a trip on GNet, we want to make sure everything is as easy as possible for you. We spent countless of hours on the back end making these integrations and working on things to make it as easy as possible for you guys. And so when it comes to the COI verification partner, we want to make this one click once you get your information in there. That way, you are able to get the information that you need as fast as possible. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Nader. Can I get a show of hands who's already using GNet? Can we see? Oh, wow, okay. Fantastic. So that was pretty much the whole room. Thank you for doing that. Thank you for trusting us with your business. But I want to ask you one more question, which is, who here is already using GNet Connect? See, that's fewer hands. And that's okay, because that's a product that we just introduced last time. But the session right now is about showing you what GNet Connect is. And let's start with how we got to this point and why we launched it, right? Because we launched GNet and we said, this is a product that connects people and makes that connectivity easier. And people loved it. As we could see in the room, many people are already using it. And we got the feedback that we want more. And the question was, how can we give you guys more? And what we designed and what we came up with was a product called GNet Connect, right? Which is basically a marketplace. And on GNet Connect, there's a few core functionalities that you can explore. One of them is that distributors are able to find you on the platform directly. So just so you have a rough idea of how this platform looks, if you've never seen it before, it's kind of like a LinkedIn, but for the ground transportation industry. Okay? So on this platform, the distributors, they can look up your profile and they can find you. Affiliates can evaluate you, right? If you want to do partners or find another affiliate, you can look up that specific partner that you're exploring doing business with, and you can find information about that profile. You can also tap into travel companies where they're able to discover you on the GNet Connect platform, right? They can look again at the different localities, different markets, and explore who is providing services in those markets. And then we are able to tap into those. And the final thing is this whole new world of AI, right? And one of the really cool things that you can do with Connect is really make your data easily accessible to these search engines. I mean by that the data that you choose to share, right? So like your fleet and your size and your service area, those types of things. And so let me get into a little bit further down the line exactly what the use cases are for the AI applications. But just so we have a rough idea of why we built this product and kind of what the old versus the new is. So back in the day, you would go and find an affiliate partner in a different marketplace. Let's say you are operating out of Las Vegas and you're trying to find a partner in London. You would go into these groups, Google, Facebook, and see, hey, who's providing a service in London? Now, you would have to go back and forth, you would have to email them, and then you'd have to look at, okay, do you have all the right documentations, all the right licenses, all the vehicles, the fleet, everything that this partner that you want them to provide, do they already have? And that takes a lot of time, right? I mean, some of you have done this before, but it is time intensive. And so what we did is we built a platform that centralizes all of this. And I'm not sure if you can see this picture here on the right, but that's actually a screenshot of how our product displays when you just look up London, right? So it has categorized a bunch of different providers in the London market. You can then click in on each and every one of those providers and see their fleet and service types and a bunch of other information that we'll get into in a few seconds. But I'm not gonna lie, this doesn't come without effort. If your profile is empty, People can't find you. There's no information about you there, right? So we have to make sure that we make a good impression for the people that are trying to discover us. And that can be 3 seconds. Sometimes it just takes 3 seconds for somebody to evaluate your profile and to understand, hey, is this somebody I want to work with? Do they give me a professional impression or do they not? And so within 3 seconds. But the good news is, if we do complete the profile, which takes about 10 or 15 minutes, you get a 73% higher conversion. That's serious gain for 15 minutes. So let's think about it like this, right? If you're dating, and some of you might actively be dating, and some of you might be using apps for dating, if you just put an empty profile up, do you think there's going to be a lot of people that are going to inquire about dating you? Probably not. So we like to compare your GNet profile as to presenting the best version of yourself, aka your dating profile, right? If you are able to put together a nice profile that presents you in a good manner, fantastic, go right ahead. People will find you and they are more likely to connect with you, so we encourage everyone to take those 10 minutes and create the profile and add information. By the way, it's free. So let's go into a little bit about what the things are that we can actually showcase. Because there's some cool features there, right? The first thing is your service area. Then there's things like your fleet types. Then there's things like insurance certifications. That could be very important. Do you want to work with a provider that has an insurance certification, or do you not want to work with a provider that has an insurance certification? Airport permits and airports that you service, right? I'd actually encourage you to enter the specific airport code so that the systems can look you up. And this will become relevant for the AI search later as well, but so that all you partners that just enter the airport code and say, hey, I need somebody that can facilitate rides at that specific airport, that they just enter the airport code and they can then find your profile because you have entered it in your profile. So make sure that you add your specific airport codes that you service. Then you can add minimums and hourly rates. You don't have to. And you can add your coverage area, right? And so imagine this again from the perspective of somebody coming onto your profile. What's the information that you want to share with them? What's the information that they already have? And how do you present yourself in the best way? And the documents aspect here is actually really cool. Because I'm sure we're familiar with the process of, hey, can you send me the insurance information for XYZ cars? Or can you send me the driver's licenses for these drivers, right? The back and forth communication that we have via email, it takes forever. And what we can do here is we can centralize it all into one nice and neat space. And the other huge benefit about this is that you get to choose who you share what documents with. If I just want to share one specific document with Randy, I just share one specific document with Randy. If I want to share something with all my partners that I'm already partnered up with, I share it with those. And if I want to make a document available to the public, let's say an insurance document, so that somebody trying to find me wants to see the profile, well, I can share it with everyone. These are the options and the flexibility that your platform like GNet gives you. So now, let's get into the fun part. Who here has heard about AI? Okay. AI is coming for the industry. It's going to be here. It arguably already is here. And so one of the things that we have done with this is we have given you all an advantage, which is the way that you structure your GNet Connect platform is you only have to enter your information. Meaning you go onto the platform, you enter the things that you are interested in terms of what you can provide. And then the way we've built the platform is that we have structured it in such a way on the back end. Don't ask me how to do it, because I'm just a sales guy. These guys know how to do that. But we have structured the information in such a way that the AI agents can go in and analyze it and understand it, and therefore recommend you. And this is the key part, right? Because until recently, you would do a Google search, and on the Google search, you would find a list of options. And now what you can do is you do a search via AI systems, meaning you go to your ChatGPT, you go to your Perplexity, you go to your Gemini, and you figure out, okay, here's all the different services that we provided, and you just ask them a question, right? You go, hey ChatGPT, what's the best provider in this market? And this is happening not just as a consumer product, even personal assistants are starting to use this to qualify different vendors. So even for corporate clients, this becomes important. And one of the beautiful things that we have done with this is that your profile will show up higher in those searches and specific to your markets just because of the data and how it's structured in the background. So that is a free day that you get just by filling out the Connect profile and making yourself available. So it means that you're not only getting inbound from the GNet Connect platform directly, but also from other search engines, specifically AI search engines that try and find you and can locate your data because it's so nice and structured on GNet. All right, so we have some free partnerships required as well, which is nice because if you want to partner up with somebody else, you want to make sure that you set standards, right? You don't want just everyone to hit you up and say, hey, let's partner together, let's connect. You want to ensure that you're in a position where you can qualify the people that actually connect with you. And so you say, okay, if you have this type of fleet or you have these types of requirements, then you are able to come in and connect with us. And so one of the beautiful things is here that we are able to qualify you with the partnerships. One last thing that's really nice about this is if you are on Connect right now, you can generate a code, a QR code from the GNet profile that brings anyone directly to their fleet. So they just scan the QR code and they immediately see your fleet, your service areas, your coverage areas. It makes it nice and easy, especially for a big networking event like this. Wonderful, easy way to demonstrate your services and capabilities. All right, so we have talked about discovery. We have talked about compliance. We have talked about visibility, but I think there's one big headache that is kind of at the top of everyone's mind that we all deal with in daily life, and that is email. So in order to talk about email, I would like to introduce you to one of my new coworkers, and that is our software development engineer, Sina. Please help me welcome Sina.
Thank you everyone for coming. It's an honor to be here. Okay, let's get started. So today my goal is to introduce the Smart Agent, one of our latest products. So far, we've talked about how we structure the network. We talked about how we structure compliance through document management. We talked about how we structure visibility through Connect profile. And most importantly, we learned how we structure reservations through the GNet API. So most of you run your businesses based on the experience you've built over the years by handling real trips. You understand the standards, you understand the market, and most importantly, you know your clients. You know how to take an incoming request and turn it into a real executable trip. And that process isn't broken. The question isn't whether it works. The question is how far it can stretch. Email is still one of the main entry points for revenue in this industry. Corporate requests, affiliate quotes, event manifests, they arrive in unstructured formats, and someone inside your company has to turn them into a structured reservation. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's a skilled work, but it scales linearly with staffing. So as companies grow, the usual way to expand into more markets and absorb more volume is to hire more people. And it's a legitimate way to scale. But it also increases the operational cost. So the practical question becomes, can capacity increase without the payroll increasing at the same pace? We've seen this pattern before. Years ago, affiliate trip updates required manual coordination. It was simply the only option back then. And as volume increased, that model stopped stretching. And the GNet API didn't eliminate relationships. It reduced the amount of manual coordination required. So volume could increase without constant follow-up. And email intake is basically following a similar path. It's the next step. So let's get to the basics. Email was designed for communication, right? And over time, it became a channel for sending and receiving reservations because it was universal and it was flexible. And what this Smart Agent does is changes what happens when an email arrives. It's very simple. It basically turns your emails into reservations. And instead of starting with copy pasting. You start with making a decision. And that system reads the message and structures the relevant information, such as pickup details, location, flight information, and prepares a draft reservation inside GNet Connect. Nothing moves without a review, so at the end of the day, you still have to review it and make the final decision. So your team still applies the judgment. So now what happens is, what shifts is throughput. So suddenly the amount of reservations one dispatcher can handle multiplies. Growth doesn't depend on the administrative headcount. It's not about removing human decision making, it's about separating formatting from judgment. So think about what this means. Your team can focus on decision making, not transcription. And that is how revenue can grow without the operational cost. So GNet API is structured how reservations talk to each other, document management structured compliance, Connect profile is structured visibility, and email agent is simply the next layer. It is there to structure your emails. It doesn't try to think for you. It handles a defined task. When an email arrives, turn it into a reservation draft. And that's agentic behavior applied responsibly. So we've talked about the email. The next thing that I want to talk to you about is our another product called Affiliate Needs. So we talked about the internal capacities, and now I want to shift your attention to something related. But it's outward facing. It's not about intake anymore, it's about reach. Because scaling in this industry isn't only about how many emails you can handle, it's also about how far you can confidently operate. Most operators build their affiliate networks gradually. Over time, you learn who to call in certain cities. You build the relationships, you know who's reliable, you know who responds quickly. And that system works, but it's relationship bound. Its reach is limited to the contacts you personally know and maintain. And as long as your business stays within familiar markets, that should be enough. But the moment you want to expand beyond your current market, new cities, new events, and unfamiliar airports, the process becomes more manual again. So we're seeing the same thing happen. You start reaching out individually, posting in Facebook groups, you wait, you follow up, and eventually you might get coverage after having to deal with a lot of scammers. And it's a relationship-driven coordination, but it, just like the email intake, it scales linearly with effort. Large operators handle this differently. They don't rely on personal relationships or memory. They have protocols that allows them to evaluate different markets quickly, which allows them to handle a job outside their coverage area quickly and confidently. So, affiliate needs isn't about replacing affiliate relationship. It's about making sourcing scalable. The same way GNet API reduced manual coordination, affiliate needs reduces manual coordination for coverage discovery. When sourcing becomes structured, your ability to accept work across markets increases without requiring a sourcing department. So let's see how this works. You can go on GNet Connect and then you can create a post, a job post. You would give it a title, you would give it a description, you would give it a location, and everyone within that area is going to receive a notification. And your job is basically to vet the people who would reach out to you. Instead of you finding the affiliates, people start reaching out to you. So again, it's not eliminating affiliate relationships, it's making your jobs easier. Someone who has a job posts the job, and someone who wants to cover it starts reaching out to you. So the relationship is the other way around, which is how it should be. Okay. So what happens is the judgment still matters, and what changes is the starting point. So you're no longer limited by who you know in the market, your reach expands to the GNet qualified network itself. That currently we have over 5,000 members. So when you post something, a lot of people in that area are going to receive a notification within the GNet network and are going to start reaching out to you. And today, this is happening. I've seen personally that once a job post is posted, an affiliate needs, you minimum get 10 to 20 responses within saturated markets. So when a new job comes in, you don't hesitate anymore. When a new market appears in a request, you don't hesitate anymore. You don't need to maintain a mental map of every possible partner in every possible city. And the infrastructure supports the expansion. So we've seen email agent increase internal throughputs and affiliate needs increase external reach. Together, they extend your operational capacity. They allow your company to behave like a company that's larger than it is. And that's all. Thank you.
How cool is that, huh? We now can just take an email and forward it, and then we have a structured reservation. Well done.
Thank you.
All right, so let's take a look at where we are today in today's market, right? I would love to see and understand who here still on a regular day works with spreadsheets. Anyone still using spreadsheets in their business? Awesome. By the way, this is just great. Most businesses use spreadsheets. How about rate tables? Any rate table users? Fantastic. Calculators? There you go. And do we every now and then adjust the margin a little bit just at the end? You guys can answer that question for yourself. We are really excited about this next chapter. And in order to understand about where we're heading with pricing, I'm introducing you to our latest team member. He's an AI scientist and data engineer. Please help me welcome Takeem.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's a privilege to be here before you all, and we're going to get right into it. We've been working on this project for a while now, and it's to solve one of the fundamental issues of this industry, which is rates. So we kept hearing the same story over and over again, inconsistent quotes, slow turnarounds, and no standardization. Our idea was simple: how can we effectively solve this problem for the entire industry? So we began working to solve that problem. Welcome to a future with instant rates for ground transportation. Before we get into it, let's talk about the problem with rates today. They are hard to quote accurately. A lot of parameters go into making up each quote. With that, inconsistent pricing. With so much variability, it's really hard to consistently price trips. Lastly, slow to quote. While you're calculating, your competitor has already passed on a quote response. So, why are rates so difficult? As we said in the last slide, every trip is different. It doesn't matter if it's the same address. A trip from JFK to Manhattan at 10 a.m. is going to be different from that same trip at 10 p.m.
Oh yeah.
Information also lives in many different places. It lives in rate tables, it lives in spreadsheets, and it also lives in your colleagues' mind. Lastly, pricing also depends on people. Sorry, so it's easy to have inconsistency when you always have different people who can give you rates in office. Not everyone's going to give you the same rate. Let's give you guys an example. Meet our growing operator, Mario. He runs a mid-sized fleet, and he has no formal rate book, so he's running on his instincts. He's slow to quote because he takes the entire weekend to price out an area. With that, inconsistent rates, because on busy days, he's guessing, and on slow days, he's forced to undercut himself. Lastly, with that, lost opportunities. Your affiliates aren't going to rate around. They won't hesitate to take the first option that works. So, we asked ourselves, can pricing be faster? And can pricing be more consistent? Imagine if you can get a suggested price instantly, not having to wait around 10 minutes on the phone to get the rate you need? And can it be consistent? We want to be able to get it right, like a price, consistently with the same logic and the same competitive edge every single time. And the answer to both those questions is yes, it can be done. Introducing our new product, GRate, built for operators, powered by data, designed for speed. We worked with operators to build this product from the ground up to cater to your needs, and all you need to do is input a few trip details, and boom, instant pricing for ground transportation. So, how does GRate work? I like to point you guys to the left hand of the screen over here. We can see a couple trip parameters like pickup, drop-off location. You can select your vehicle type and how many passengers you need. We have a couple other features as well, but with a push of a button, you get that screen on your right. We give you the total price in blue, the base charge in green, total price includes fees. We give you a breakdown of the range of the prices of both of them, and you can choose how to cater that to your own business. You stay in control, GRate suggests, you decide. So, the goal behind GRate. GRate isn't here to replace what you already know about pricing. We just want to help you with speed, accuracy, and consistency. Our goal is to help you get your rates to your partners instantly. We suggest you the rate so you can focus on adjusting margins and personalizing them to your business. Now, that's pretty much the end of this segment, and I'll be passing it back to Thor.
Thank you very much, Tim. That was awesome. Now, there is one big caveat that we have to say and we have to outline about GRate. GRate is not yet fully available to everyone. Now, we have beta testers on it, and it's becoming available to more people. And if you are interested in being one of the people that gets to play with it, and wants to test it, wants to check it out, at the very last slide of this presentation is a QR code. We encourage you to scan that QR code and fill in the lead intake form. And then just to check mark the little box, you can check mark all the products you're interested, but just check mark the GRate box, and then we will, as well, once the product comes out, notify you, get you in for testing, and allow you to play around with our products. All right, well, that was a big day. So we covered a lot of ground here today, right? We figured out that we can structure booking through the GNet API. That's something that pretty much everyone here already knew. Then we figured out that we can structure email through our email agent. We just forward the email and suddenly we have a structured reservation. Then we figured out that we can also start working with affiliate coverage. You know, we have different tools for that. We have obviously Connect, and then we have affiliate needs. And finally, we're looking at the structure around pricing. And so with the fleet of these 5 products, you can see a kind of a through theme, right? The through theme here keeps being structure. And why is structure so important for this industry? Structure removes the friction. And when you remove the friction, you're no longer limiting your own growth. So when you're structured, every touch point, you unlock a fundamentally different scale of operations. So, one question before we close this out. What is still creating friction in your business? It's not whether you should modernize. It's the question about what you modernize first. And we hope that GNet can be a little aid in that journey to help you get more structure and therefore help you grow your business. With that being said, it is my absolute honor to welcome our co-founders. And with that, I will leave the floor to Amir and Reza. Please come.